Greetings, I'm Dr. Cindy Jebb, president of Ramapo College. For 26 years, Ramapo College has worked with the Russell Berrie Foundation to present the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards to unsung heroes who make New Jersey a better place in which to live. We are so excited and thrilled to present the 2022 honorees and share their very powerful stories. Each one has truly made a difference on the individuals and communities across our state. I trust you'll be as inspired as I am by these outstanding individuals.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jebb. I'm Steve Adubato, and I am honored to once again host. This is the 26th anniversary of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards. Russ started these awards back in 1997, and I'm proud to say I was there then. And it is just such a privilege to introduce you to the people you're about to meet. I want to make it clear that there are some numbers, there are some statistics that I thought I knew after all these years of being part of these awards. I thought I knew the extent, the impact of the awards, but I want to share some numbers that put things in perspective. Since 1997, 4,000 unsung heroes have been nominated. 4,000. This year alone, 330 nominations. That is a record, 330 nominations for the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards. Since 1997, 408 individuals have been honored from every corner of the state. And get this, $4 million in awards have been given out in these past 26 years. That's extraordinary. So I want to do this as you're about to meet the honorees this year, all the honorees in our 26th anniversary of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards. I just want to remind you that the people you meet here are honorees. They don't seek attention. They don't want the spotlight, but they deserve it. They deserve our respect, our admiration, and yes, they deserve to be honored. And so it is my honor to be a small part of this very big, extraordinary event. You're about to meet 12 individuals. This first group is a group of 3. They're change agents. They're making a difference. They're fighting against the barriers that so many people face in life, challenges. People who sometimes have given up on themselves or society has given up on. You see over my shoulder, Dr. Martin Luther King talking about making a difference. These three first individuals you're about to meet are in that same mode, if you will, changing the lives of others. And that's all for the good. Let's meet them.
Al-Tariq Best of Newark has more than 30 years of experience in the music industry as a performer, writer, and producer. After witnessing a traumatic event with his children, Al-Tariq decided to take action to address the violence and trauma many young people in Newark experience. He created the Hub Center, which provides youth with empowering experiences using arts, education, entrepreneurship, and access to mental health services.
There was a situation where I had my sons in the car and I was riding through Newark going to a cookout, and these guys was beating up on this other guy right in the back of the car, and we heard a gunshot. The gunshot really stunned me and my children. So I started yelling at my sons, "Don't ever let me see you in these streets, blah, 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 blah." My 14-year-old son at the time says, "Dad, you always talk about being part of the solution, not part of the problem. What are you doing about it?" And my whole life changed because my 14-year-old son says to me, "You know, what am I doing about my community?" And I did not have an answer. And 16 years later, it's like, wow, my whole life has changed because of the mouths of babies. My son put a charge on my heart to do more for the community, and I just didn't give up. And I used all of that resiliency to push other young people and to give them a voice. I wanted to create a place where the youth can be able to come in and try out things. And I had a vision: entertainment, education, and empowerment. And just giving these youth the understanding that they can be whatever they want to be. They just got to apply themselves and don't let their situations tell you that you can't be nothing different. It feels damn good to know that somebody's watching us, that somebody appreciates the work that we do, because it's a sacrifice every day to get up and do, to make the decision to help somebody else do better.
Saya and Shanae Musso of Burlington are the founders of the Opportunity League, an organization focused on empowerment through sports, education, and entrepreneurship for children and adults. They have recently launched the Villages Community Marketplace to create a grocery market with healthy foods in an underserved community.
A group of individuals called upon me to put together a basketball game. And that's kind of how I was introduced into nonprofit work, through the work that I did with the YMCA as a kind of a volunteer. That became an opportunity to start our own nonprofit with using sports and education as a conduit to teach and reach young people. We do workforce development, community development. We're starting a grocery store in our community to address food insecurity, health equity, and the food desert that exists in the city of Burlington.
The work that we do is what I believe is a higher calling, a much greater purpose than really what meets the eye.
Started this organization in 2009 with no expectations and no idea of what it could possibly be. It wasn't until much later, many years later, that I understood what the significance and importance of this work was in the community.
You know, when we bring in different individuals who have just such a wide range of expertise in designing and implementing this project, it has taken a whole different form and has been, incredibly successful because of the diversity in thought and the diversity in experience that comes to the table.
Absolutely.
And people can operate in their gifts and talents and bring it collectively together to make something really transformative.
To then also be recognized in any capacity for the work that has been done and the work that is to be done is absolutely, I'm at a lack of words. It's very honorable for sure, but it's kind of surreal.
Quadeer Porter of Newark created Brothers Building a Better Nation to support young men of color who were incarcerated or have a criminal history as they begin to create a better future for themselves and their families. He invests deeply in his clients, offering mentorship, employment services, housing assistance, and counseling.
The nonprofit started several years ago where I moved from the Pavilion Apartments to my first house, and I saw a lot of brothers on the streets there going through a lot of things I was going through. So then I started getting a lot of knocks on the doors asking me, how was I able to get out of, like having a parent that was, addicted to drugs and getting out of poverty, and how I was able to go to college. So I kept on seeing these questions coming, and so I decided that instead of me just doing one-offs for them, why don't I use all the tools that I got over the years while working at Rutgers, working at Memorial Sloan Kettering and these other places, and make a nonprofit out of it. They needed work, they needed job training, they needed case management. There's a lot of complex systems in Newark, New Jersey, and the federal government for these programs that a lot of people have a hard time navigating. So I put all those things into an organization and I created it. A lot of times, the people in my community, once they see somebody doing well, they become infectious and everything. I want them to become that role model that I know they can be. I see the beauty of Newark, and I want to continue to grow and contribute to it as well. And I feel as though I owe it to my great-grandfather, to my family, and also the people that are unborn in Newark yet to make this place more beautiful. Because you can continue to run away from a problem, but the problem is always going to be there if you don't try to solve it.
Those are pretty extraordinary people, as you can tell. Now, the second group of honorees, you're about to meet two men, two of our honorees, who faced very difficult situations. And the first one you're about to meet, a UPS driver who stepped up and in a split second had to make a decision as to what to do, how to act. And a decision was made. He made the decision to help save others. Now, the second person you're about to meet is a gentleman who actually helps people who are facing devastating loss, and steps in to make a difference in their lives. Let's meet them.
Nicholas Dirla of Bridgewater was just 3 months into his job as a UPS driver when he helped 7 people escape rapidly rising floodwaters on Route 22 during Hurricane Ida, getting them safely into his truck and then out of the flooded area. After delivering his last package of the day, he headed back toward the distribution center as the storm started to get worse.
Like, it felt like apocalyptic levels of carnage around me. I'm up high in the package car, I'm relatively safe. And I mean, what is gonna be, when you get fearful in that situation, it made things relatively worse. So I continued trotting on back to the building. And at this point, I kind of knew where this was heading. As I had that thought, the truck had broken down. There was a woman on top of her car with her arms up in the air. And I said, hey, listen, come inside, because that situation that she was in was far worse than the one that we would be in the package car. So I said, come in. To my left, I now see another car floating the other way. So I say, listen, you guys need to get out now. Come in. You guys need to come in. So at this point, it was a family affair. Everybody I saw within the vicinity who could reach the truck was going to come in, because it was such a dangerous situation to be on that highway. Water began to rise, and eventually it reached our ankles inside. And by this time, we were like, okay, listen, we have bags inside the truck, plastic bags. We can bag all of our stuff up so it doesn't get destroyed. And we're going to go. In the same window we came in, we went out. And mind you, we're not just getting out onto the highway. We're getting out, like I said, essentially into a lake. And then we go up the exit and we see houses. And my thought process was, if we can just find somebody who could open their garage and let us in their garage just to get away from the rain, that would be a win. It's taken a long time to come to the realization personally that what I did was very serious. It was something that did save lives. What else was I supposed to do? I would hope that if it wasn't me and if it was somebody else, that should have happened. It had to happen.
Roger Hinton of Orange created the Family Assistance Resource Center, a volunteer operation that provides direct, immediate assistance to economically vulnerable families in North Jersey and beyond who have lost their homes and possessions in fires, flooding, storm damage, and other disasters, and connects them to other resources.
Back in, I think it was 2010, there was a major fire in Orange. And I got in my car with my 2 sons, and we went to the scene of the fire. And I went through the yellow tape, and I went all the way up to where they were fighting the fire, and asked one of the people that I knew if there was anything that I could do. And they asked me to go over to the high school and help receive the families that were coming over. And the question was, well, what's going to happen to all of these people? And so that was the beginning of what became the Family Assistance Resource. We started finding, getting clothing for people. We started identifying apartments for them to stay in, and all the things they needed to start over. And we went from Essex County into Union, into Bergen, and to Passaic, and wherever there was a fire, we were somehow called to them. So on our website, families contact us from all over the country. And we take those phone calls and we try to make those connections. Part of our service has also been from on a bereavement standpoint. They can call me, we can talk about these things. And I can talk about it because I lost my wife. So this is something that I know, having gone through personally, I know what the family needs and how they feel. And so part of my calling was to minister to people. And so I thought my ministry would be in a pulpit in a church, but my ministry has been to meet people right where they are. It's such a blessing to be able to help and to see people get back on their feet.
That's what I said. These are people who made decisions to help others in need, particularly in a time of crisis. Now, the next 2 individuals you're about to meet, these are honorees of the Russ Berrie Award for Making a Difference. They care about the arts. They care about history. They want to create opportunities for others, particularly around the arts. These are 2 people who care deeply and understand very deeply that the arts make a difference in our lives in so many ways. Preserving history makes a difference in our lives in so many ways. They're special people that we need to meet.
Emily Dempsey is a sixth-generation resident of West Cape May who has a lifetime of accomplishments, including co-founding the Center for Community Arts, supporting the creation of the Harriet Tubman Museum, and preserving African American history in Cape May.
But around 1991, we had an incident here in Cape May where some kids were playing the boom boxes on the boardwalk. They were arrested, and a lot happened negative. We turned it around into something positive. There were about 8 of us. Because of the chaos with the kids and the injustices we thought were going on, we sat around the table trying to think how we could make it better for these kids. So we started this group called Center for Community Arts, and instantly it just started clicking. We had people teaching them all the arts, and we would take them on trips to New York to the theater. We would take them to Philadelphia, and it's over 28 years. We've had an African American community history group with Center for Community Arts, and our history committee is the longest standing committee in the Center for Community Arts. I'd say we've done over 80 oral histories, and it's just so exciting being on the phone with them, retracking, remembering what happened in our life. We're getting ready to open the Franklin Street School that was built for African American students in 1927. And that building is going to become a library and an archives for a lot of this that we've all collected. I felt I needed to be involved in or wanted to be involved in. So I'm blessed that way. I'm very, very blessed.
Samir Nichols of Camden started Superior Arts Institute when he was just 14 years old, which provides young people in the greater Camden area with an outlet for performance and production with a focus on advocacy, racial justice, and equity. The organization partners with local schools and community organizations to develop conscious, skilled, superior artists.
I went to see West Side Story. I was about 7 years old. When I watched this play, this rendition, there was a full company that was made up of people who look like me. It's just not always an inclusive place for Black and brown folks. And for a long time, it was just about having arts, in the city, having dance, having theater. And I did not realize the level of impact that we would make. So here we are now in a unique space where we're fundraising and doing the artistic work. I used to teach an advocacy through action class. As a part of, our theater ensembles, we wanted kids to be aware of what was happening and utilizing current events. And so what was now a 45-minute class turned into a full day's workshop. From a full day's workshop turned into a full, a program that we were running 3 days a week. Starting out as advocacy through action and ending up as advocacy through acting. To my students, I would hope that they would understand that this is going to be their responsibility, not just the artistic work, but the civic engagement work that comes associated with it. My goal is to prepare the next generation to be stronger than I was, and knowing that it's not about me. It's never about who I am as an artist. It's about the artistic footprint that will, inspire the next generation. They're my drive, and if that defines my heroism, I'll take it, but it's because of them that I am this person.
As I said, extraordinary people, unsung heroes, making a difference in the lives of others. And this is the final group. This is the fourth and final group of Russ Berrie Making a Difference honorees. These are people who clearly stand up for the rights of others. Now, what does that really mean? It's not just their civil and their human rights. We're talking about, in some cases, basic human needs that for so many, it's just something we often, and I'll include myself, take for granted. But for many, they can't take it for granted because when it comes to food, shelter, clothing, basic human needs. The people you're about to meet are obsessed with helping those people and their lives. And so the other honoree you're going to meet is someone who advocates for the rights of others, for their freedom, for their right to live their life in this country without fear of reprisal. People who are often victimized for a whole range of reasons. I don't want to tell you anymore because the reality is these people and their stories speak for themselves.
Tanya and Matthew Veltz of East Orange assist vulnerable individuals in more than 20 communities across North Jersey through Treehouse Cares, an organization they founded in 2017. Tanya and Matthew and their team of volunteers organize community events and programs that address food and basic needs insecurity by providing groceries, hot meals, clothing, personal products, and school supplies.
We've always done charitable work. In 2013, I became ill. As a result of it, I lost my job. My husband lost his job. We started volunteering with other organizations, doing personal charitable things. Like, we are so passionate about what we do. And we get up every day just looking forward to helping people.
It started out with a van, and we had to make multiple trips. It wasn't a lot of volunteers. It would be me, her, maybe another person. Now we have volunteers now, but a lot of them are seniors.
The need is so great. It's a food desert right now. And since the pandemic, the numbers have increased drastically. And right now we're serving close to 1,500 meals per week. And we provide groceries to over 400 families, individuals, and seniors. I don't get funding to do what we do. We rely solely on in-kind donations. This is why I'm so grateful that we were selected. It was like a gift from God, but we're not heroes. Who would want to see somebody go hungry?
Just the right thing to do.
It's just the right thing to do.
Stephanie Glover Wilson of Bayonne is a champion of food equity who began feeding people in a park in Bayonne 6 years ago. Those early actions led to the launch of Hunger-Free Unity in the Community, which serves multiple communities in Hudson County with a 100% volunteer operation that continued to operate through the COVID pandemic.
I had a rough first marriage, and I'm a DV survivor through that marriage. And I said, once I get out this marriage, I'm always going to go back and help women that are struggling for little things. I started working for other churches and nonprofits through their food pantries and their soup kitchens. And then one day I was like, you know what, I'm helping everybody else. Start something on your own. So I started Hunger Free. And then every month it got bigger and bigger. We started renting trucks and their friends started coming. Then HelloFresh they started to notice that, wow, she's really giving out a lot of food. So now they bring the trucks to me. But then when COVID hit, we started getting phone calls from like Florida and California from kids saying that, oh, well, my mom lives in Jersey City. I can't get to her. She can't get out. So then that's how we started traveling. It just grew from there. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but I had to end up learning how to drive a truck. If they have food, I'm going to go get it on a bicycle, a scooter, a truck. I don't care. I'm going to go get it. My next adventure is to learn how to drive an 18-wheeler. This past 6 months have been really, really rough for me. My mother-in-law died in October, and then my husband died in December. I think he's up there looking at me like saying, just go, just don't give up. Community service is in my DNA. That just runs through my vein. I hate to see people suffer for food. Like, food should be the last thing you have to worry about, especially in America.
Deanna Mejia of Morristown founded Wind of the Spirit over 20 years ago to provide support and legal services for immigrants and undocumented people in multiple communities in New Jersey. A committed immigration advocate, she has pushed for humane and just policies that allow immigrants to live with dignity and contribute fully to their communities.
I came here for political reasons. My life was threatened. I came here in February and my little brother was assassinated in November. I came here in my first years. I was undocumented, and we start Wind of the Spirit out my own experience of being undocumented. Because I have the background in law, I thought, okay, so how we can do to get papers? And then I start reading more and learning more, and I saw the immigration laws that we had, they were very obsolete, and we really need change. We have members that they have been undocumented for 30 years. They don't have kids, so they don't have a chance to do any immigration status. So it should not be criminalized for people trying to meet the basic needs. People want to be documented. That is why we work so hard to be a part of this community, to this society, to this country. So I think in that sense we all need to understand and open our minds and our hearts to welcome anyone. So this is a real blessing to be part of the puzzle of change. We are just this little tiny part, and we're there, and it's great that we're all gonna be finish this puzzle one day. But it's not just one person, one organization, it's all of us together.
So there it is. I mean, listening to these stories, meeting these honorees, it's inspiring. It reminds us that we have a responsibility to find ways to make a difference in the lives of others. That's what these awards have been about for 26 years, since 1997. And now to share her perspective, not just on these honorees, but on the history of the Making a Difference Awards. We now have the honor of listening to and seeing Angelica Berry, who is the president of the Board of Trustees of the Russell Berrie Foundation. Angelica.
Just as ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into water, acts of service and kindness have a ripple effect from you to the person you help and beyond. The impact of one single act of generosity has far-reaching effects that will be felt by others for years to come. Because every act has a ripple effect that ignites positive change over time. For over 25 years now, the impact of over 4,000 nominees and 408 winners of the Making a Difference Award has created a powerful network of change and resiliency across the state of New Jersey. What a powerful difference this network has made. The Making a Difference Prize honorees are pioneers, innovators, and social entrepreneurs from different ethnic backgrounds that reflect the richness of New Jersey's diversity. We received the largest amount of nominations this year, over 330 from every county of New Jersey. Over 25 years, the work of our heroes has grown and evolved. Today, many of them are leading voices in their field. They've been recognized nationally and built strong networks of their own. We are proud of their growth and look forward to their accomplishing even greater things. A number of you have shared your leadership stories in interviews recorded by StoryCorps. And the writer Ursula Le Guin said, "All you have is what you are and what you give." In this pandemic time, we are all called upon to give the best of ourselves to repair a broken world. Philanthropy is not about money. It's the gift of who you are, your talent, time, resources, and passion to make a difference. We know that small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. And no action is too small, and no one is too small to make a difference. We honor New Jersey heroes who make our community stronger by contributing in ways, small and large, to make it a better place to call home. Our community needs more heroes, good-hearted people with an innate kindness who who give all of who you are to tackle problems others hesitate to attempt: hunger, employment, incarceration, abuse, child marriages, period poverty, mental health. And while most of us cannot summon the will and the energy to do something about these issues, you have taken action to be the change we need to see in this world. We celebrate the goodness of community heroes, heroes who lead humbly, who care deeply, who lead fearlessly, and give wholeheartedly. May you continue to spread light in this uncertain time and to be a blessing unto others.
We all want to thank Angelica. We want to thank the trustees and the staff of the Russell Berrie Foundation for the commitment that they have made over the past 26 years to make a difference and to recognize those who are making a difference. And I also want to say that for me, I said this at the beginning, I'll just repeat it, to have been a small part, to continue to be a small part of this big, extraordinary, important event that recognizes people making a difference has been such a privilege and such an honor. So please join me in congratulating the 2022 Russ Berrie Making a Difference honorees. Let's take a look.
Diana Mejia, Morristown. Quadeer Porter, Newark. Samir Nichols, Camden. Al-Tariq Best, Newark. Emily Dempsey, West Cape May. Nicholas Dirla, Bridgewater. Stephanie Glover Wilson, Bayonne. Roger Hinton, Orange. Saya and Shanae Omuso, Burlington City. Tanya and Matthew Veltz, East Orange.
There they are. And at the risk of sounding as if I'm repeating myself, I'm going to say that it has been an honor and a privilege to be a part of this event, the 26th anniversary of the Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards. But I also want to thank each one of you who have nominated these extraordinary people over these 26 years who are in fact making a difference. So without those nominations, we would not know who those people are. So thank you so much for doing that. So finally, on my end, Steve Adubato signing off, and we thank all of you for joining us for the 2022 Russ Berrie Making a Difference Awards.